Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is Spiritual Split Splash, episode 7. I'm Karen Lynn, and welcome to this broadcast. Spiritual Split Splash is all about hopeful and heartfelt conversations that guide to greater well-being. Today, I am going to be joined by Crystal Cotton, a true inspirational woman. Crystal has overcome many obstacles. She's here to share what she's done. One of them has been a tremendous weight loss, a complete rehaul of her career, going in directions now to inspire and help others. If you're new to Spiritual Split Splash, I like to bring on people who are radiant, amazing human beings who are going through their spiritual journey now and sharing with others knowledge, wisdom that they're learning, and what I can do also to be of service to everyone in really sharing them with all of you. Crystal's company is Rise with Crystal. She's like a wellness advocate. Hey, Cher, she is. Hi, welcome. Such a pleasure to have you here to share your amazing energy with everybody. Tell us a bit about what you're up to, because it's awesome.
Super excited and honored to be here. I actually started a company in May of this year, and I have 3 pillars. Okay. So one is, just my general brand, Rise with Crystal, which is basically just sharing my journey and where I've come from and where I'm going in hopes that I can help someone else. Because when I was through a lot of these things, I really didn't have anyone to reach out to. I didn't have anyone whose story resonated right away. So it's just an honor for me to be able to share that with people. I also have a wellness line that I am partnered with now that I'm super excited about. I'm going to be doing a 30-day transformation. Just yesterday, I was in a meeting. I'm partnering with a gym here. We're going to partner. They're going to do kind of the testing. It's AM Total Being Fitness. They're going to do the testing. I'm going to do the transformation with the products that we have. And then we'll do a group and then share that information. So I'm super excited about that. And then my YouTube channel is kicking off. The Free Spirit Sherpa actually was born out of the journey that started with the fitness, because I discovered you can't separate the two. You start out with the physical and then you realize that the spiritual is connected. And I like to say I'm giving people permission to think freely. I want it to be okay for people to think freely and make their own choices about what they're experiencing and how they want their life to be.
What would limit us? What beliefs come up?
First, we should kind of back up and say, okay, where do your beliefs come from? So your beliefs come from, your parents when you grow up, the experiences that you have, the things that happen to you and how you think about them, and the filters that we put on our life experiences. And so one of those things for me that was very prevalent was my religion. And so, and I was a Bible thumper, very religious person. And I can remember being at a point in my journey where there was one person I was associated with. I thought, if I don't finish through these studies, I'm going to die and go to hell. So I was rushing to get through and study these things. And it was just so intense and it wasn't necessary. But there were some beliefs that were generated for me that, said that I can't go outside of what's in that book. I better not be looking at that astrology. Don't you dare consider that numerology, and don't meditate, because you don't know what those voices are in your head. Don't you do that. And so, but what I found in my journey, when just being me was not enough, when just the book, when I felt like there was something missing, there were things outside of that. There were tools that could help me, but I had to step outside of my boundaries of religion so that I could connect and learn more about who I really am. I've been thinking about sharing this information for 3 year, maybe even more. But I was afraid. I was afraid because I feel like the information that I'm sharing and the ideas and the thoughts and the way that I think about things would be directly offensive to, religion. I grew up Christian.
It might
my
be.
Background.
Yep. Yeah,
so
me too.
I was afraid. I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to say I'm the devil's. It's like, what's wrong with you?
Sure.
You can't believe that. That's not right. And in fact, even the Bible's like, don't, have to do what the Bible says. Don't add or take away. I really felt led to do it. It's not like, it's not like I felt like I was tipping off, out of God was leading me to say, this is what you need to be looking at. And so it helped me to get free. And in fact, that I didn't run into anything that would be contrary to the Bible. The challenge is that there's so much conditioning and social conditioning around the religious text that you got to break through that before you can, like, people won't even hear you. They can't even hear you. Yeah. And so that's where the conflict comes in. But if you're open and you're seeking, then you can discover for yourself that there are tools that can help you, and that you are like this amazing, magnificent, divine being. And you'll never know it. You'll never know it. Just staying in the box.
Truth. Big one.
That's my experience. There's a mystic called Sadhguru. Probably heard of him.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I did, one of the experiences that I had is I actually did his inner engineering course, which was like, that would just be like, ooh, no, don't do that. Don't go through that meditation thing. They do those ooms and ums. Ooh. Yeah. But one of the things that I learned from that really helped me to understand is just how divisive, religions and world and beliefs can be. And he talked about the intellect and how intellect seeks to slice things up. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what we do. You have your religious text. I have my religious text. Somebody else has theirs. Somebody else doesn't believe at all. And it's like this tool that we use to slice and dice each other instead of trying to come to a common understanding about, well, what is it that you believe? And what is it that this person believes? And when you actually are open to have those conversations, what I discovered is that we really believe the same thing.
And you know what? Pain is pain, Crystal.
Yeah.
There's no Jewish pain. There's no Christian pain. There's no Muslim pain.
Yes.
Pain is pain. Yes. And suffering is something the human being shares on a universal level. You've said so much truth. It's like, wow. Okay. Like, I am really, really appreciating that perspective. And I feel that religion is important in society.
I agree.
And I think that it's given us a framework for our moral fabric.
Yeah.
And I have appreciated when I've traveled, I love immersing myself in different religions and cultures and really understanding the belief, because I do see at the root of it, if you can go deep enough, there's a major commonality.
Yes.
But the division, when you are trying to bring people together and bring a spirituality to it, and you're just dividing, it's like rites and rituals and reasons to not unite. What's a solution? What is a path?
The first thing that I had to understand and realize is that when I was growing up, I had a belief that said that religion was spirituality. That's what it is. And then
for many it is. Yeah.
Right. And just before I go there, let me just say, I don't think that we shouldn't have religion. I think that religion serves a purpose, and that is to get the human man who doesn't realize he is a spirit, to help them to connect with spirituality. The challenge is, I think the problem is that we were never meant to stay there. And so we kind of get stuck, and then we dig in our heels, and we go, oh no, this is it right here. And that's where the problem comes in. So the answer, I think, is just one, to acknowledge that it's really flipped, that there's spirituality and religion is a subset of spirituality. It's not the other way around. And when you begin to look at the overview of their spirituality, and then there's religion, and Christians have their version of religion, Jews have their perspective, Indians have their perspective. Everybody has their perspective, but it's all part of spirituality. And that's why I used to always wonder. I used to be like, well, how come all these people in my church are broke and tired and scared and depressed and suicidal, but there's those people over there who said they don't even believe in God, and they're doing what? They're doing fine. They're blowing up. And it was because the spiritual principles, they don't change. They're universal. It's who we are. We're spirits. And so we operate based on spiritual principles. So that's why this person over here who's like, you know what, forget that religion. I'm just, I'm connecting with myself, my inner me, and I know where I'm going. They're all happy and joyful. And then my religious friends are like, oh, this is horrible. Oh, but God's ways are mysterious, and we're going to get through this somehow. And then And really, it's just like, you know what? Wake up! Wake up!
Yeah,
please.
wake up.
Please wake up! Please. And
Wake
that
up.
is what, right?
It's,
Like,
you know, Crystal, it's kind of like,
yeah.
I remember talking about this when I was in high school, and I was questioning religion very, very strongly, and I was going through my own crisis about it. And I said to friends, I have gone to church where I felt uplifted. I felt inspired by the priest. I felt inspired by the environment. I was very moved by it. I felt connected to it. And then I would go outside, and someone in that same environment with me in the church would get in their car and cut off a person and be like, fuck that.
Exactly,
and I'd be like, what's the good? What's the good of spending?
Exactly.
And then they'd bring me like this thing. I was like, if you're really living it, is it teaching you to live connected 24/7, or is it just a place to go and say, oh, forgive me from what I've sinned, and now I'm pardoned, and I can continue being, whatever.
Yeah.
So it does raise questions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You check the box. Yeah.
This is the piece I had to come to on this journey. And the way that I could say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And what I have to say is that the people who I'm looking for are looking for me. It's all a matter of perspective and where you're at in your journey. Some people will die and they will never know. I'm here to help you if you're looking. I want you to have a place to go, which I did not have. So if there's someone, if they're not looking, right, if they're not looking, they're not there yet. I can't help you. It's like with anything, you have to let people be on their journey because everyone is amazing. Everyone is. And it's only because we haven't been exposed that maybe we don't understand. Maybe you don't know. Maybe all you've ever known is church. And so you don't even understand how. You just know maybe it's not working.
That's lovely. I love it. I love it. And that you're doing that with your content. A little bit about your socials. I just want to bring a little bit of attention to it right now. You have a YouTube channel, The Free Spirit Sherpa. You have your website.
So what I would say, I would just say stick with the website, risewithcrystal.com. Okay. Because there's links to everything. Just go to risewithcrystal.com, contact me, and let me know, what you want to talk about. That way, there's one place to go. It's centralized, and that's
excellent. Thank you. And you're on Facebook too.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
Yeah,
as well.
I am on Facebook. That's everything is Rise with Crystal.
You had shared with me this tremendous physical transformation that you had gone through, and that you were feeling like life was pretty stagnant. And I know when we can get into these ruts and we just find ourselves like 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight or with something that we don't really enjoy. That's part of our existence. So we're like, okay, so making change is really hard. And you had mentioned that you'd look for solutions. Just please share a little bit about that journey because I found it so inspiring.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. In about 2010, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. And, at that point, I had my two boys. It was no longer just me because in the past, I'd be like, I'm not taking a prescription. I'm not doing it. But I had my baby. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll take the medicine. I took the prescription. The prescription caused inflammation in my body. I was in pain. So I went to my doctor and I was like, oh, okay, can you give me something else? She gave me something else. It made it worse. I went back to her. I said, it made it worse. She says, okay, we'll go back to the first. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm not going back to the first when it hurt me. And I'm talking to the nurse. I'm like, hey, so is all I need to do, do I just need to lose weight? Because I was studying how high blood pressure worked and all that. And I was like, well, do I just need to lose weight? Is that all I need to do? And she's like, yeah, most people. Yeah. I'm thinking, okay, well, bet. Let me go figure out a way to lose weight. So I was talking to this lady at work and she told me about this place called Sacking Complex. And I lost 71 pounds in 4 months. Like I was about to business.
Incredible.
So, even though the first day, so this was like fruits and vegetables and milk for 4 months straight. Okay. And some little balls on my ears, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for anyone right now.
So disciplined. Wow.
Yeah. And this is what my family did. I was married at the time. And the first day of my program, okay, they wanted to go to Baskin Robbins. So here I am, and then it was Memorial Day weekend was when I started. So here I have my apples and cabbage, and they're licking on ice cream, and I'm at my mom's house, and I was just like, this is so unfair. But I was on mission, and I had to do it. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not taking medication. I'm not doing that. The other thing that helps is sometimes you just got to know yourself. And I know for me, the fact that I had to go check in and pay money, it helped me to stay accountable. There was no exercise, right? So it was amazing. All my vitals all went down. They were perfect. I went to the doctor. She's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And that was great. But after that, when I started exercising and I started eating normal food, I did gain back. I gained back the weight. I gained back about 30 pounds of weight, because not only what I discovered is when you do something drastic like that, you're not just losing body fat, you're losing inflammation. Some of that weight is inflammation.
Everything.
Some of that weight is water, you know, so it's not really real in the sense. So when I started to work out with weights,
that's good.
And I started to eat, you know, more food, I was heavier. And it I wasn't worried, but I discovered that the main thing I was trying to lose was this my belly fat, and it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. But what I discovered along the way is that a lot of times our bodies, I mean, we're energy, so our bodies hold things energetically and physically as well. And so what I'm coming to now in my journey is that these kind of hard to lose places actually are related to some, what I believe to be some emotional baggage that I'm still carrying around. So I'm doing more inner work so that I can connect with myself and understand what it is I need to release, so I can release the rest of that. It's so much easier to stay in a box and say, okay, you know, I'm just going to pray and one day it's going to work out. But to actually turn and look at yourself and accept ownership for the good, the bad, and the ugly, and love it all, because it's all you. That's really beautiful. Hard. I have had some really, really challenging times. Just things that I didn't even understand were hurting me, were hurting. Yeah. And so it's like that, working through that is painful. It's painful, but it's worth it.
But it's worth it. And when you do, you're like, why are things suddenly easier? It's like, because you just let go of like something. Something you just don't need anymore. But we also have a question. How important do you find nutritional changes for your process?
They're vital. Let me tell you why they're vital. Okay. So first and foremost, we know that our bodies, they require certain nutrition. But what I discovered is that your nutrition and what you eat also affects your ability, your energy, and your ability to connect with yourself. It's all connected. So if you eat foods that are like low chronic, you know, that they can block your energy. So when you're trying to do that inner work to help yourself to grow and to connect, you're blocked because you're eating foods that are not allowing your energy to flow. So I think nutrition is vital because it's part of you and it's needed. And that's, of course, the big challenge, because we go to the food. It's like, oh, give me some of those chips because they're great, but they don't help your energy flow. And a lot of times the blockages are just energy blockages that you can't get through. And sometimes it's because of the food that you're eating. So it's vital. Yeah. I think it's vital.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You can work out all you want. You know, you can be really fit on the inside, you know, on the outside, but you still have to do the spiritual work on the inside because other things internal can be messed up. I mean, you see those marathon runners and people who fall down and have heart attacks. It's not because they're not physically fit. It's because there's something inwardly that has happened that caused them to experience stress. So we have to be balanced about everything that we're doing, and we have to take ownership of our health. When I first started doing Facebook Live videos, it was because I had joined, I had connected with this network marketing coach with the Higdon Group, and they talked about in social media the value of adding value when you're out on social media. But I took people on my journey and learning myself, and I saw that there's so many parts of just that getting to being fit that's related to how you feel about yourself and your self-worth. Yeah. And so even I wanted change in my life, I knew something was supposed to be different. I didn't know what I needed to do, but I was just like, okay, I'm going to do these videos. I'm going to take people on my journey. I'm going to talk about me. And you know what I discovered when I really took the leap and started doing videos, and I would always watch my video after, and I was like, oh, I like her here doing that video. Yeah. She's okay. Okay.
She's
and
great.
I through those videos to love myself more. Like I didn't know myself. I was a mom. I had absorbed that identity as being a mother and a wife and a homekeeper and a project manager and I was all these things, but I didn't even know who I was. I just knew I was not happy. And so when I started doing the videos, I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. This really was a journey. And then that's where the rise with Crystal came from, because I was like, well, I don't know where I'm going, but it's going to be up. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm not staying here. I'm going somewhere. It's going to be up.
I love it.
And people are going on my journey so they can rise with me, rise with Crystal. That's really where it came from. And then I didn't realize that people that I knew were actually looking at my content. You know, it's kind of like easy. You're out on social media. You're just like, oh, okay. There's, you know, there's some people out there on the other side of the camera. I don't really know who they are. So I can
totally.
You know, and there's no big deal. But then I was working with this trainer, and then somebody was like, oh, I saw your video. I was like,
oh my God, yeah.
It kind of freaked me out a little bit, because I was like, oh, somebody I know saw my video.
Yeah.
So I didn't really realize that I was impacting people, and they were just like, oh, yeah, you know, your video really helped me. I was like, oh, wow, I'm really helping people.
So great.
And that really resonated with me, because that's all I wanted to do anyway.
Thanks for sharing that. That's really powerful, because, you know, it's when you first start any of these things, it's like so hard, maybe like, at least it was for me. I was like professional hider, you know, like, of course, not for sharing other things, but about myself.
Right.
You know, it would be like, oh my God, I'd be terrified. And then once you start to do it, and then you're like, people you haven't seen in, I don't know, decades, come out of the woodwork, and they're like, I saw your video. It's been a great way to reconnect with people. But it's also like, I think it's like a spiritual growth. You know, I've talked about this with others who are in our group, or Crystal and I, for those of you who don't know, are in this Facebook group that I talk about a lot, where mission-driven entrepreneurs are, you know, learning how to kind of share their voice and make it a full-time career. I've talked to others in our group, and people have said that it's been like a spirit, it's reminding them of other work that they've done spiritually, because you're really facing yourself, and you do have to give yourself a lot of love. Like, I've shot videos and I've been like, oh, I can't watch it. And I see everything wrong, and I just have to like give myself a big hug and say, it's not about me, because it isn't about me. It's about the message. It's about what I'm doing and learning. And, you know, it takes a little work on yourself, I think, at least for me.
Yes, to be vulnerable, to like put yourself out there. I mean, and there's been, even now, it's just like, oh my gosh, why did I wear that? Oh, I can see my belly in that video. I should post it. And I'm like, no, you can't not post the video. The content is the same. Put it out there.
Well, you're doing great. I really enjoy your lives. I really enjoy, you know, all that you're sharing.
I'm more of an adventurous spirit. This is something new I discovered about myself on this journey, is I am an adventurous spirit, but I never knew that until I started to do more videos, and then I learned more about myself, and then I saw different things. I was like, oh, I want to try that. Let me see how that is. We're sleeping. Like, you're sleeping, and there's layers to you, and each of those layers are just kind of sleep, and they're dormant, and somebody will say something, and it'll perk you up, and you'll be like, ooh, I think I want to try that. Ooh, let me see. You're just going through the motions and, you know, doing the same old thing every day, and there's this whole world out here. So it's pretty.
There's a whole world out there. I love your spirit of wanting to try, and your curiosity to try something new and go in different directions. But this is really about the power of sharing. I mean, when you think about how this is all coming through because you are sharing. And that, to me, is just a super high power energy that we all have. And when we do that, whether or not it's in video, it could be in person, it could be a conversation you have with someone. But when you're sharing, there's just that natural energy that's just so like amazing and revealing of so many good things.
One of the things that I really noticed and that I was concerned about when I discovered was just like suicide rates. And and that was another thing that kind of propelled me, because I didn't realize that the reason that people do that is, and there may be there's clinical things behind it, but the essence of it is that people don't really understand who they are and understanding that they're here for a reason. They feel like, you know, sometimes people feel like they're worthless, or sometimes they feel like they don't have a purpose here, or sometimes they feel like the world is so bad. Why? I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. But when you connect, when you can be free to connect with yourself, when it's okay for you to think whatever your thoughts are, don't disconnect from what your thoughts are. Don't think you're a bad person because you thought about something. When you can connect with who you are and just accept that and love yourself, there's never any reason to think that you shouldn't be here. But a lot of people do. And I think that a lot of times we fuel that when we put these boxes in these categories. You know, this is sin. This is not sin. This is bad. This is good. And we put these labels on stuff that make people that have people devalue themselves. And so I just want people to understand how vital they are and how important they are and how special they are and how
That's beautiful.
divine they are, so that they can stop worrying about what everybody else is saying and get connected and learn about themselves and experience the life that they're here to be enjoying right now, and not get caught up in all that other blah, blah, blah.
Drop the judgment. Drop the judgment.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
That is so inspiring, because we often don't have our own families sometimes supporting us in our journeys, or our immediate communities. This can be a challenge for many, many, many people. So your work is so important. Thank you, because your work is so, so important. Before we go, because I don't want to forget, I always ask people, what is their favorite book or a resource or something that you can share with everybody to help them?
Okay, I don't know if you're ready for this or not, people.
I'm ready.
I love the Wallace D. Wattles trilogy. He has the science of getting rich, the science of being healthy, and the science of being great. During my darkest times, when things weren't making sense, I have that trilogy on audiobook, and I listen to it every single minute of the day. If I was in my car, it was on. If I was in the, in the kitchen cooking, it was on. And I would just have it in my headphones, and I listened to it all the time. And it helped me. And the thing that it helped me with is to understand what pure understanding of love and spirituality and religion and even Christianity, because he's focused, Christianity is a Christian faith, and his view of it helped me to see how off what I had been led to understand was. And that gave me hope, like, okay, it's not me. There's a way, and it works for everybody. And that really helped me through very difficult times. I love it. What it talks about is this ability that we have to create, about being divine beings, and about having that energy. And it's just really explained in a way that just makes so much sense. And it was so easy for me to understand. I really resonated with it. And so it helped me. The thing that really was frustrating to me is why I kind of a little bit distanced myself away from religion and the Bible. And I love Jesus, but is that it seems so powerless the way we operate today. So when the whole situation that we're in kind of started to rise up, what I saw was people who were religious leaders and preachers and teachers on social media talking about how scared they were, talking about, fear, and how they felt like they were depressed, and how they felt like, they didn't know what was going to happen. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Do you believe it or not? I was like, what? Stop. Do you believe it or not? Do you believe it or not? What the Wallace D. Wattles helped me with was to say, oh, okay, that's the reason why there's a disconnect, because this is what really works, and this is what you're being taught, and that's why there's a little disconnect. It helped me to make the connection to see what was missing and why I felt the way I felt, and that was liberating for me too.
One more question. Someone's asking, do you have a film that inspires you that you could share? Is there a particular
film? Okay, so you really want to know my favorite movie? It's The Matrix.
Oh, yes.
I love the Matrix trilogy. I love it for multiple reasons.
Yes.
I love the action in it, but I also love the spiritual kind of undertone of the whole thing.
Oh, totally.
I love it.
Totally.
I am a total Matrix trilogy person. Yeah. It's all spirituality and the principles, and I love it. My favorite part is when the kid is there, when Neo comes in and the kid's got the spoon. And
I love that too. That's the best scene. The best scene. Yeah.
And he's like,
good scene.
What's the secret? There is no spoon. And if I had to summarize to everybody, like, okay, what is the secret of life? There is no spoon. You can just take that and just internalize it and begin to meditate on what is that mean for you, then you unlock your whole world. There is no spoon. Now, so you have to figure out, if there's no spoon, what is that? Oh, well, how do I move the spoon? if there's no spoon, what is it made of? How do I get there? When you begin to ask
you
yourself
bend
questions,
reality. That's how you do it.
right,
Yeah.
right. Just ask
Bend
yourself
reality.
questions. So, yes.
Oh my God, that's so good. That's like the high note of the high note to end on that scene in the Matrix. Oh my gosh, Crystal, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you for having me.
all of this wisdom, and you're just so awesome, so energizing, and a lot of people I know have been really enjoying this broadcast as well. So thank you again, and I want to thank all of you guys for watching. If you have been with us live, or if you're coming in later, it's really awesome to have your presence with us. So appreciate you guys so much, and lots of love. Mwah, lots of love to you, Crystal. Bye, guys. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.